everyone, to week 7, the end of week 7 here at the PTW podcast. My name is Amir, your PTW podcast host. With me, as always, is Tossy the Football Greek. And folks, we did our preview show talking about how if the Dolphins beat the Colts and the Niners beat the Chiefs, we would be two of the happiest people on the planet right now. And guess what happened? Neither of those things happened. The Dolphins crumbled against the terrible Indianapolis Colts. Not even with Joe Flacco. And the Niners.
Jonathan Taylor was out too.
The Niners couldn't get it done in one way, shape, or another against the Kansas City Chiefs. Tossy and myself had the privilege, or not so privilege, if you will, of going to the Kansas City Chiefs versus San Francisco 49ers game. We sat in different sections, but he was there. I was there. We got to see Mahomes magic in person. And listen, we're just gonna start off the podcast just like this, cold. Okay, we're gonna approach it a little differently moving forward. We're not gonna talk about every team. We're gonna talk about just what we think are the key stories from the NFL. And the key story out of this game is that the Chiefs are now 6-0. And my question to you, Tossy, is how much of that is due to the refs? Because prior to this game, I was always like, no, that's an exaggeration. Mm-hmm. The Chiefs don't get all the calls, blah, 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 blah. Folks, I saw it in person.
Yeah.
I saw it in person. I saw Nick Bosa being held and it not being called.
Yep.
I saw pass interferences that weren't called. I saw defensive holding calls that were just ridiculous. So calls definitely going in favor of the Chiefs. But I can't sit here and tell you that the refs are solely responsible for the Chiefs being 6-0. So my question to you, Toss.
Yes.
And this is obviously your moment to shine, your moment to vent about the game in general. I know there's plenty to say.
I do.
But what are your thoughts overall on the game and the Chiefs being the only undefeated team left in the NFL?
All right, so where do I start? First of all, I was on the sideline for the game, talking shit to Mahomes and to Kelsey.
Yes, you were.
And to Chris Jones and to all of them. I got like about 30 videos of me doing it. I only posted one in the beginning, but I didn't post the rest because we lost. The Niners lost. But I was there. Like I said, I would be frothing at the mouth, talking mess. And Mahomes, he didn't hear it. He let it go, roll off his shoulders or whatever he does, his curly locks, you know. Mm-hmm. And he went out.
He got some nice hair, man.
Yeah, he went out and played, but not, him and Kelsey. Kelsey had like 4 catches for like 10 yards or something like that. I don't know. It was like nothing.
Kelsey wasn't up factor.
He had a couple of like a big third down catches. So a couple of his catches were on, to get first downs. Yeah. So I'll give him that. But I mean, that dude's washed. Chris Jones is a beast. I'll admit it, man. That guy is an enormous human being. I saw like literally I was a foot away from him and I was like, Jesus, this guy is enormous. So that guy's a baller. He's a good player. But Mahomes, man, I mean, he had a shitty game, bro. He wasn't good at all. He threw some interceptions. They went for it on 4th down early in the game. They don't get it.
Right.
I mean, the only thing that Mahomes did well was he took advantage of the fact that he's going to get a call if he gets hit on the sideline and he knows it. So he's like, I'm going to just do it, like pretend like I'm going to go out and do a little deke because I know the defense is going to let up because they're going to call it every time. But next time, you know what? Hit him. Take the 15-yard penalty. Knock his ass out. Like that's what I say to everybody who's going to play the Chiefs from now on. Because if he's going to try and take advantage of the rules of trying to protect the quarterback and play the old okey doke, like he should get hit. Like that's it. Like at this point, like they got to hit him. And then he did end up going up the middle and getting the touchdown on the 4th down, and he did end up trucking Mustafa, which was crazy because that guy's a really big hitter for a rookie, and the fact that Mahomes actually trucked him, I'm like, dude, gotta be kidding me, bro. It was just like insult to injury at the end of the game. Yeah. But it's from the Chiefs standpoint, I mean, they didn't play that well. Honestly, the Niners could have won the game. They should have won the game. Brock Purdy probably had his worst game as a pro. He was terrible.
Easily had his worst game as a pro.
they get the ball back on fourth down. They stop them. It's fourth down. Like they get the ball, they're in their territory. First pass, throws in a double coverage, doesn't see the safety, interception. It was like, dude, sucked the moment. The crowd was going crazy. I mean, the energy was there, man. Like everybody was feeling it. Everybody was ready for the game, and then it just sucked the energy out. And then then it started with the refs. Big run, penalty flag. Big run, penalty flag. Big stop on, offsides on Bosa. All right. It's just like after play after play, flag after flag. Just every time the Niners had any momentum, it was squashed in the first half. And then, Purdy with the interceptions. I mean, they come out of the half, they have all the momentum. They get the big Deommodore Lamar gets the big interception. He runs on the sideline. They end up getting a touchdown. They cut it to 2 points, and then they decide not to try to tie the game. They try to go for like a field goal, and the dude blinks it off. And then it was just like from there, it's just like then they stop Mahomes again. They get the ball back. It's like, okay, they're gonna go down. They're gonna take the lead, right? They're in territory. They're driving. Purdy makes another terrible throw, misreads it. With Ronnie Bell there, I don't know. Obviously, Ayuk got hurt. Gruesome knee injury. He's done for the season. It sucks for him. Debo was out. He had pneumonia, essentially. So granted, he's like on his fifth wide receiver. Juwan Jennings is already out.
Right.
They just got Pearsall back, so they're like dealing with they got like crap on the.
They're dealing with like the fourth and fifth and sixth stringers at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
Like third stringers,
And so like did he break the route off too quick, or should he, because it looked like Purdy's always running these timing routes, right? He's always throwing to a spot, so he said it was on him, so I'll believe him. And then the last interception was the worst of them all, like about to at least cut it to one score, and then they end up throwing the interception in the end zone, and that was the game. So in essence, it was on Purdy this game. I'll admit it. The defense actually played really well. They really kept Mahomes in check. Just outside those couple of plays that he made, and a couple of those wide receiver sweeps that they they just basically dusted those off from 2 years ago when they beat him, and they ran him again.
Yeah.
Really? You guys you're not gonna practice something they just did to you like last time you guys played in Levi? I was having deja vu. It was crazy.
Yeah. And this is my question, right? Because it goes back to the question about I know Niner fans at this point are getting frustrated with Kyle Shanahan, and they're getting frustrated with his game plan, the way he's coaching during games, all that kind of stuff. And our mutual friend who I was at the game with kept asking, like, okay, where are the trick plays? Where are the gadget plays? Why are we like running down the middle? Why are we like doing these like dink and dunk passes? Like, why are we playing basic ass football against easily one of the best defenses in the NFL right now, and freaking Patrick Mahomes? Like, why are we doing this? And it's like it seemed like, I don't know, like the Niners didn't have it. I hate to say it, but it didn't seem like they had a game plan per se. They were just playing basic football. Yeah, they were just like, let's just try to beat them in basic football, and a basic game of football. And like you're talking about a team that is on the verge of three-peating in the NFL, something that's never been done in the National Football League. You're talking about a team that is very much in the midst of a dynasty. You have to pull out all the stops when you play a team like the Kansas City Chiefs. And the one thing that I was going to say, you made a good point about Patrick Mahomes taking advantage of knowing that he's not going to get hit on the sideline because people don't want to get 15 yards roughing the passer penalty, when in essence it shouldn't even be roughing the passer. It should,
he's a runner.
Because at that point he's a runner. But it was easily the smartest play I saw the entire game, because he's about to run, and we were sitting at the end zone that he was running towards. We were at that end of the field, so we saw him coming towards us. We're like, okay, he's about to go out of bounds. And when he did that juke move and got another like 15 yards, I'm not exaggerating, the entire lower bowl of the end zone all stood up, because we're like, what the hell just happened? Like
Yeah.
nobody in the stands expected him to do that. Nobody expected that to happen. And to your point, either you hit him, or if you don't want to get the 15 yards, just wrap him. Like, okay, you don't want to hit him? Cool, don't hit him. Wrap him. Just grab him and like just kind of take him out and just kind of escort him out to the sidelines. Make him take 1 foot out of bounds. Don't like just get your hands off of him because you're scared you're going to get a 15-yard penalty. Do something. But that was easily the smartest, because you're right. Statistically, not a great game for him. He didn't really do anything. Didn't throw any touchdown passes or anything like that. But like from a again game man, because he threw some interceptions as well. He didn't have a clean game. But from a game management standpoint, taking advantage of the opportunities that the defense gave him, coming off of those picks from Purdy, he was able to do it, and Purdy wasn't. Right.
Yeah, exactly. They were able to capitalize on the mistakes by Purdy and basically end up icing the game in the end, with that last touchdown.
Yeah.
Like the interception, drive all the way down, score a touchdown. For me, it like definitely the play calling was like suspect. Like they got the ball down there. They're at the end of the half. They're trying to score a touchdown, and they try to like pick up the first down with a run play, and they have to scramble and get the kicker out. Like just try to throw it into the end zone there, bro. Try to score a touchdown. Then you're only down 4.5, and it doesn't feel that bad, right? Like after that whole first half of all the penalties and just pretty much being like owned the whole game, right?
Yeah.
So it's just the decision making, the execution, all these things, like again, coming and affecting the team and how they're playing. It's very frustrating. But I'm going to say one thing that pisses me off. It's like you guys are the Niners. I'm talking to them right now. They don't come out and they're not physically ready to play football against these guys. Like it's happened over and over again. It's like I said before, there's this aura around Mahomes, like they're not going to hit him when he goes out of bounds. They're not going to, when he's running up the middle, you're going to bounce off the guy like he's like freaking Derrick Henry. You know what I mean?
He's like the refrigerator coming after you.
Exactly.
Right?
It's like, dude, hit these guys.
Yeah.
Play some football. It's like this guy's like out there just like finessing his way through the game. Play some football, some like hard-nosed, like old school football. This is football. It's not like dance recital.
Not
like
ballet.
Hit this guy, man.
Yeah.
Like hit these guys. Knock him in the mouth. Run the ball. Like knock them off the ball. Offensive line. Hit somebody. Like the only guy that's hitting everybody is Trent Williams after he's already been hit in the head. He's the only one that's throwing punches, and then he's getting ejected for it.
And then he gets ejected.
Yeah.
Even though he's just like returning receipts, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing. Like, what is this bias, right? The guy clearly hits him. Like you're not going to eject him too. Like, come on, man. It's just another.
It's done in a way where the refs don't see it, and or it's like they don't see the first one, but they see.
They see it. They have video replay of it. They look.
That's at it. And that's a good point. And like talking about video replay, like the game, I think is getting to a point where there are so many cameras on the field. Video replay is so accurate.
Yeah.
You even need refs in an NFL game anymore?
No.
You basically need them to like place the ball. Like someone can tell them in the ear, like put it on the 24-yard line. Okay, 24-yard line. It's a first down. Okay, cool. Like forget this whole chain link crap. Forget all of that stuff. Like the refs at this point are not necessary. Like you think about it, they're really not.
The game.
They're really not. They honestly should just be like have earpieces. Someone's telling them, yes, it's a touchdown. Put your hands up. Yes, the field goal is good. Put your arms up.
Yeah.
Hey, no, it's an incomplete pass. Do this. No, it's a roughing pass. Like, so there should be someone or a group of people with all the freaking TVs in front of them, like they do in the XFL. I can't believe I'm saying this again. Where like tell them, hey, this is the right call. Do this.
Yeah.
So you take out the disparity of it. Like the biggest complaint about World Cup soccer or soccer in general is that these refs get it wrong. And it like, in a sport where you only get 1 point and those points are rare, every point matters. And if a ref gets a penalty kick wrong or whatever, like, or rewards a penalty kick to someone who didn't deserve to get a penalty kick, it changes the entire momentum of the shifts the entire momentum of the game.
Well, that's clearly what's happening in these games too. It's like the momentum shifts are palpable. I mean, you saw it like yesterday in the stadium.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jordan Mason, big run, on called back, holding. Like it's like who was holding? You'll watch the play. It's like he barely touched him for like a half a second. Then you go watch the Chiefs and they're like doing it all game, holding, wringing Nick Bosa's neck. Like every single play, like and on these key plays too, or like Mahomes scrambles, right? Nick Bosa's being held. Even on the Ayuk drop, he was held at the top of the route. That should have been a pass interference, regardless if that he dropped it. The guy still committed a foul on the way. It's like they would have called it against the Niners. They have, and
that was a perfect pass, by the way. That was easily
Brock Purdy's
best pass of the game. Easily Brock Purdy's best pass of the game. It was beautiful.
Ayuk dropped it, unfortunately, because that may have gone for a touchdown if he catches it. Like he probably would have gotten tackled.
I think he would have gotten tackled because the guy never know. They were pretty close, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just those are the plays that are just for killer in the game. Honestly, they weren't ready to beat these guys. It didn't seem like it. It didn't seem like they were ready, and it's really disappointing from a diehard Niners fan to see these guys have beat you twice in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
You gotta want to beat their ass, and they didn't want to do it as much as everybody in there wanted to see this happen. And they just came out and they just got, they just go through the game. And next thing you know, it's 28 to whatever it was.
13, or not 12.
Yeah.
12.
12.
Yeah.
It was 12 points.
Yeah. Because they missed the extra point. They didn't go for 2.
Yeah.
I hate to do this, but I'm going to change my Super Bowl prediction after this game because and listen, there's a lot of season still left. We're only done with the first third of the season. We've got 2/3 left. We still got 66% of the season to go. A lot can change. I'm of the mind that the NFC West is not a great division. Seattle's had a surprising win against Atlanta, but I still think they're a beatable team. So I think the Niners still have time to figure this out. They're going to beat the Cowboys this week. There's no question about it. They're going to go into the bye at 4-4, and then they can regroup, maybe get McCaffrey back. Obviously, Ayuk is out, but they'll get Debo back. They'll get all these pieces back, and hopefully Shanahan will figure his shit out. Will figure his shit out. So I'm not saying that the Niners won't win the division, but if we're talking like right now, like I said it last week, and I'm gonna say it right now, like outside in the NFC, Detroit is the best team by a mile. Even without Aiden Hutchinson, by a mile, they're the best team. And Jared Goff is playing out of his mind. And we can sit here and say game manager. We can sit here and say all that kind of stuff. But when you're 15 of 15 constantly, and you are making plays, and you've got the passer rating, and you got this and you got that. Yeah, I would argue right now that I would say I wouldn't be surprised if the Super Bowl comes down to I said originally Chiefs and Niners.
You did. You called the Niners would win too.
The hot hand right now is saying Baltimore versus Detroit, but I'm gonna stick with KC for the moment, and I'm gonna say KC Detroit.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say KC Detroit. I'm gonna say Detroit wins. That's where I'm.
Wow.
Hey man, listen. You go back to these historic wins for these cities. You talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers beating the Warriors. You talk about the Toronto Raptors beating the Warriors. You talk about New Orleans Saints winning in Katrina. Why not the Saints, right? Like, why not the Saints? Why not the Lions? Why not a team that was mediocre for not even mediocre, bad for so long?
Yeah.
Why not them with a quarterback that got discarded? And just kind of like, oh yeah, sure, take him. We want Matthew Stafford. Y'all can have Goff, no problem. And to have a quarterback that was discarded and now playing out of his mind, That to me, and I'm a big fan of stories. I'm a big fan of that kind of stuff, right? So those narratives. So, anyways, we've spent 20 minutes talking about the San Francisco 49ers. Let's move on, as there are other stories to talk about. Chiefs remain undefeated at 6-0.
Disappointment.
The friend that I was with that we both know, made a comment. He's like, I think the Chiefs go undefeated, and I looked at their schedule. That they've got a pretty
easy schedule.
The way that all the things worked out.
Yeah.
I do think that the Bucs give them a run for their money. I granted the Bucs got blown out against the Ravens today,
and they lost two of the receivers.
Well,
Mike Evans and Godwin. So we'll see what happens.
I take back everything I said. They're going to go undefeated. They're going to go undefeated. 17-0, first 17-0 regular season team ever. Nonetheless,
dude,
we've got so much more.
They're not that good. They're not that good.
That's the funny part.
They're just not that good.
I agree with you. And yet they're figuring it out. And yet they figure it out.
How they're winning. It's just
that is good coaching. That is a good organization, and that you have the most important position on the planet locked.
Yeah.
That's it. Look at what Tom Brady. Listen, we could name me the Hall of Fame receivers outside of Randy Moss that Tom Brady played with in the New England Patriots.
Julian
Edelman. I will wait. Sure.
Gronkowski.
Wes Welker. No, Gronkowski is not a receiver. He's a tight end. Okay. He had a Hall of Fame tight end. Okay. As was Patrick Mahomes, so that they cancel each other out. Like name me the freaking A-tier wide receiver that Tom Brady had.
Yeah, probably be the closest guy is Edelman, probably, because he did win a Super Bowl MVP.
Yes, the closest.
I mean, besides Randy Moss.
Well, but they didn't win a Super Bowl with Randy Moss.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, anyways, my point is my point. Good coaching,
Evan Falk.
Good organization, good quarterback. You get those three things locked, you'll win games all day, every day.
Yeah, it's just amazing because they always had kind of these mediocre guys, but man, Belichick would always scheme it up. They'd always
figure it out,
clutch it up at the end. These guys would step up.
Coaching. It's called coaching.
I agree. Spagnuolo,
the team that you play.
Yeah. I mean, Spagnuolo really has the Niners number. I mean, he's always beat them. Yeah. Like going back to when he was with the New York Giants, and man, that guy he has Shanahan figured out. He has the defense figured out. So, what are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do?
Figure it out. If you're Kyle Shanahan, figure it out. Yeah. Now, going from a very well-run organization to a terribly run organization. This past week, the Cleveland Browns played the Cincinnati Bengals, and in that game, DeShaun Watson gets injured, ruptures his Achilles. And, I understand why folks are happy, but still classless to cheer in the stadium in Cleveland for DeShaun getting injured, which opens the window for Jameis Winston to come in and play. Nonetheless, DeShaun Watson is officially out for the rest of the season. Second year in a row where he doesn't get to finish the season, and the backup basically comes in and completes it. Cleveland is on the hook for the next 2 years of DeShaun Watson's contract. Regardless of what happens, they have to pay him.
Yeah,
$45-ish million next year and $45-ish million the following year.
He's milking this recovery too. He's not going to be back next year. Watch.
No, I guarantee you he won't come back till the middle of the season next year. If that. No. He's out the rest of this year, and all of next year. That's if you look at Rodgers, he got hurt in the first game. Correct.
Of last year.
Right.
And then he made it back, but he wanted to come back.
Mm-hmm.
DeShaun Watson has no motivation to come back.
No.
He's been terrible. He looks like he's uninterested, and that's the reason why they're booing him when he got hurt. He wasn't good for them, and he was not playing how he was playing before all the massage stuff. So, was it the massages? Who knows? Maybe he needed to still have some massages, keep him okay. But honestly, after all that and being off a year, he just is not the same guy. And he hasn't played good football, and he's probably going to milk this injury. And it just seems like that's the kind of guy he is at this point. So I don't know. That's just my take on it.
I think regardless of whether or not he milks it or, he really does have the desire to come back, this is 100% working against the favor of any player in the NFL who ever wants a guaranteed contract ever again.
Yeah.
You can say goodbye to guaranteed contracts after, it's just not going to happen. No player, I don't care how good they are, is going to get a guaranteed contract moving forward, because look at what a disaster this has been.
I mean, look at Ayuk. I mean, what they just did, they just gave him a ton of money. Now he's hurt in that whole holdout situation.
Yeah.
And to me, I think moving forward, not only the Browns, how their organization works, because their organization is terrible.
Yeah.
But going back to how the Niners and how their organization thinks about going about their contract negotiations, about how they're so willing to just spread things out to the end, just go to the 11th hour every single time with these guys. It should teach them a lesson. It's not working. They got to stop doing that crap. They just got to get these guys and sign them, and focus on getting the negotiation done, and then coming up with a good, fair number that everybody agrees with, and then go ahead and sign the guy. Don't let it play out, because all these things are a distraction and how it kind of affects the team. And, sorry, I kind of got off topic, but man, I just had to say it, man. They got to change this. It's just the crappiest way to go about.
It's not just the Niners. A lot of teams do this. That's the thing. A lot of teams try to play hardball with their players, and I'll to turn it over to the Dolphins. It bit them in the ass. They lost Andrew Van Ginkel, who's killing it for the Minnesota Vikings right now, and they lost Christian Wilkins to the Raiders. Granted, the Christian Wilkins is injured, unfortunately, and out for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
But a huge key piece on their defense, as was Andrew Van Ginkel. And you lose these guys because you're they lost out to Andrew Van Ginkel over $2 million. That's it. $2 million. They wanted to pay him 10, and Minnesota gave him 12. And they're like, go ahead. And meanwhile, he's balling for Minnesota, right?
Yeah.
So it just kind of goes to show you, it doesn't behoove you to be cheap, but at the same time, Toss, this contract, Ayuk's contract, Tua's contract, Herbert's contract, Hurts's contract, Dak's contract, Lamb's contract, none of them are panning out.
No, not so far.
None of them are panning out. And so these mega contracts, I also would argue, are a bad idea.
Yeah.
They're a bad idea. I can't name you a single quarterback right now in the NFL who, in my opinion, deserves $60 million. I can't sit to name you a single one that deserves $50 million, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And the excuse of, that's the market, is the most BS thing I've ever heard in my life. It's the market because you guys are setting that market. You guys are responsible for that market.
Yeah.
It's your dumbasses that keep raising the prices of these quarterbacks because you're too afraid for the quarterback to get their feelings hurt or whatever, some nonsense, DeShaun Watson being out for the Browns, it makes the Browns gives them a chance because they can't be any worse than they were.
No.
But it also sets their franchise back at least another 2 years, maybe even 3.
With all the money on
who knows if they're able to draft anyone that's going to be even decent, right?
Yeah.
So, just a bad situation all the way around.
A killer. Yeah.
Bad situation all the way around. From one quarterback in the AFC North to another in the AFC North who finally made his 2024 NFL debut. Toss, I called it at the beginning of the season. This year is the resurgence of Russel Wilson. And granted, in the first period, he did not look good.
He did not.
But in periods 2, 3, and 4,
Dangerous
was back, baby. Dangerous was back.
He was back.
Killed
Russ
it
Danger.
against
Yeah, he did have a good game.
a New York Jets defense that is a very
Pretty
good
decent.
New York
Yeah.
Jets defense.
Yeah.
I'm tired of hearing that. I'm tired of hearing it. The
Not no
2-5
more.
record 2-5 record says otherwise. You're not a very
Yeah,
good defense.
not good.
You're definitely not a championship.
I think
caliber.
Devontae Adams wants to get traded again. That's what I heard. He's like, what?
He's requesting a trade again.
Yeah,
Why
he's
not?
already. He's like,
Can we do
what
2
did I
trades
come
in
here
1
for?
year? Why not? Why don't we go play? You know what's funny is well, nonetheless, I won't bring that up because it's Niners centric, and we've already talked about the Niners ad nauseum on this podcast. We're gonna move on. But when Mike Tomlin got questioned about the idea of starting Russell Wilson and how ballsy it was versus the success that Justin Fields was having, Brandon Marshall of all people asked him in the presser, hey, so how does it feel to be proven right that you picked Russ over Justin or something of that manner? And Mike Tomlin just mic drops and he says, that's why I'm well compensated, and says thank you, and leaves, right?
So good.
This to me again is proof that, honestly, Toss, I've figured it out this season, man. Nothing beats good coaching. Yeah. Nothing. Yeah. Because I argued, everyone's going to stay here and say Russell Wilson is washed and blah, blah. And I'm not saying that we have seen the second coming of Russell Wilson as an elite quarterback after one game. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is when you have a coach who willingly will get off the bandwagon of the quarterback that's been working. It's not a complete quarterback because he can't throw outside the numbers, but he's got a run game. He's got this efficiency, whatever. Yeah. And to go to the veteran who had a terrible year in Denver. Actually, last year he wasn't bad, but a terrible experience in Denver overall. Yeah, the years that he was there, to me says, I'm going to game plan the hell out of this game so that Russ is the right choice and that and all that kind of stuff. Mike Tomlin there's a reason why he's the longest tenured active NFL coach for any team in the NFL, right? After Bill Belichick retired from the Patriots, right? This proves it. This proves it to me. It's not players. It's the coaching and it's the scheme, right? Mike McDaniel has all the toys and tools and that he could possibly muster and dream of, and can't do a damn thing without them. Can't do a damn thing with them if he doesn't have Tua. It doesn't make any sense. That's not coaching. That's relying on your player, right? And the verdict is still out of whether or not Bill Belichick was really this elite coach or was it really Tom Brady all along. The verdict is sort of out, maybe more in Tom Brady's favor than Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick, I think, eventually will get a chance to coach again.
He will.
Really see if he can, strike gold twice. But this to me just kind of proves that, when you have a well-run organization and a coach that just knows what the hell he's doing, your team's going to be in good hands, man. Doesn't matter who it is.
No, I mean, Russell Wilson came out. He balled. I mean, he looked terrible in the first quarter. I was like, oh man, I have him on one of my fantasy teams. I actually started him. He got me 40 points. I was like, oh, he had a couple of touchdowns. He ran one in on a QB sneak. I mean, it kind of he warmed up as the game went on. Yeah. And George Pickens made some really incredible catches to help him out. Those guys were stretching out for balls. I mean, there was some really good, nice plays too by his receivers and tight ends and things like that. So, but congrats to Russ. He's back starting, and Justin Fields he had a QBR of 54 or something like that. He wasn't that good, and the Steelers they won in spite of him more than because of him. So I think, bringing Russell Wilson in now, and if he's going to play like that, then thumbs up.
Thumbs up. I was scratching my nose and the iPhone. I'm filming on my phone on this episode.
Thumbs up for Russell. And you called it, man. We'll see. We'll see if your take from the beginning of the season is looking good now.
Think about it, man. They're 4-2, right? Very much neck and neck with Baltimore at the moment.
They are. They're
tied. We'll see where that goes. Yeah. To me, Baltimore's the better team, but you never know. again, division teams, they play one another. It's gonna be interesting. But congrats to Russell Wilson on a game, on a good debut game in 2024 with the Pittsburgh Steelers against the New York Jets. And speaking of those Jets, Tossie, did you know that the New York Jets are not a good football team?
Yeah, they are not. They are not, and their season is on the brink right now.
Very slowly slipping away. Now, there is some solace.
Yeah.
Because the AFC East is a terrible division this year. The Dolphins picked a hell of a year to be terrible because, my God, does this division stink right now.
Yeah.
But there's a really interesting stat that I don't think it shouldn't get ignored.
Yeah.
The Jets, after 7 games, have a worse record with Aaron Rodgers than they did with 7 games with Zach Wilson last year.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets are 2-5 with Aaron Rodgers this year. They were 4-3 with Zach Wilson last year.
That is wild. Bring back Zach, baby. Aaron, go back to your cave. And
it's really interesting when you see, honestly, the train wreck right now that is the New York Jets. It is interesting. This deserves to be studied. This deserves its own 30 for 30, honestly, because it's like one of those things where you're like, this doesn't happen that often, where a singular player, and I'm not saying, it's not sitting here saying Rodgers is running.
This is Rodgers' fault. Don't it's Rodgers' fault. It's his attitude. It's his smug, like, I am this guy. I got inoculated. What did he say? I got, he's like, he's just full of crap, this guy. And he's like totally lost his mind. He's totally hijacked the organization. He's the one.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. What I was going to say was, I don't know if him coming in, the intention was for him to run everything, to get Solid fired and demote Nathaniel Hackett and to trade for Devontae Adams and blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that was the intention, but my God, that's the direction it's gone in. Yes. This dude, clear as day, is coming up to the offices and the coaches. Hey, why don't we try this? Hey, why don't we do this? Mm-hmm. Hey, why don't we do this? Hey, maybe this, maybe that. And it's like, dude, do you not have coaches on this team? Do you not have people who have done this for a living, who know how to coach, who have earned their positions to be offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, assistant coordinator, quarterback coach, running back coach, wide receiver coach, DB coach? Have people not earned that distinction to do their jobs, as opposed to apparently, and I didn't watch the game in full, but apparently there was a play where Rodgers looked over to the coach and was like, hey, throw the flag, like the challenge flag. And then he's about to grab the flag. He kind of he drops it, and then Rodgers comes and grabs it and chucks it back at him. It's like, never mind, I got it. And then throws the touchdown the next game or runs it in. I forgot what he did. But if that doesn't tell you that Aaron Rodgers very much is running the show.
He is. He's running it poorly. He's no Broadway Joe, that's for sure.
No,
he didn't take his number. Maybe he should have.
No, I mean,
12.
Look. Are we sitting here saying Zach Wilson's a better quarterback than Aaron Rodgers?
No, he's not.
No, he's not. But how can you argue with result? The only result that matters. I don't care about QB stats. I don't care about fantasy points. I don't care about any of that stuff. The only thing that matters is how many W's you have in that column. Yeah. That's it.
That's very true.
And you look back, you have more with Zach Wilson, with in essence the same team. The team hasn't really changed.
It's actually better this year
than you do with Aaron Rodgers. And look, New England sucks. Miami sucks. Granted, they haven't played Miami yet.
Yeah.
Buffalo is not great. You should.
Buffalo's going to win the division, though.
They're 100% winning the division. Yeah. I told you in week 2 that they're winning the division.
You called it in week 2.
I called it
over at week 2. Might as well not even play the rest of the games.
I told you, that week 2 game decides everything, and it absolutely did.
Little earthquake at my place.
Yeah, right. All good. Yeah, we're in California. Expect some earthquakes here and there. We get wildfires and earthquakes. Yes. The Jets are not great, and I'm not quite sure who they play next week. I don't think they're on
Yeah,
a
that's a good
bye.
question. Let me see if I
But
can bring that up real
yeah, it's
quick.
great. See if you can bring that up while we talk this out. But in regards to the AFC East, I'll bring this up real quick before we sign out. That Tua did announce that he is back to practicing with the Dolphins. He will go through concussion protocol,
Yeah.
and most likely play in the Week 8 game against the Arizona Cardinals at home. And this is the magic question of if he is the missing piece. Is he the dude that is going to take this team back to the promised land? I'm telling you right now, folks, he is not. I'm telling you right now that it's not going to make that much of a difference. Will Tyreek score some touchdowns now? Probably. Yeah, for sure. Will Waddle do some stuff? Sure. Waddle's a little banged up, but yeah, he'll maybe do some stuff.
So
Braxton Berrios, unfortunately, is out for the season. Got injured. And, at least Miami's got a decent running game with Mostert, Achane, and Jalen Wright. And
yeah,
McDaniel needs to learn how to freaking game plan because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing when he's game planning.
I think you're downplaying it right now. I think the Dolphins actually are poised to make a little run here. They're going to come back. They get Tua back. Like I told you, I think he's going to throw at least 2 touchdown passes to Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's going to bust down the big way with Tua back against the Cardinals. The Cardinals coming off a really good win against the Chargers, but unexpected. Crazy game. Dicker the kicker. Went wild and scored all of the Chargers points. But I think Miami's going to win next week, and then they have a good chance to beat Buffalo. Come on now.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
Come
they do.
on. Stop it.
They're going to beat them.
Stop it. The game is in Buffalo.
They can beat them.
Stop.
It's early. There's no snow.
Doesn't matter. They got Amari Cooper. Josh Allen has his new toy that he can play with and throw touchdown passes to.
He did throw a touchdown pass to him.
It's already a wrap.
Listen, but they're winning next week.
This season is such a cluster. It's not even funny. The disparity between the good teams and the mid-tier teams it's like this right now. And for our audio only listeners, it's a huge gap. And then the disparity between the mid-tier teams and the lower teams is also a really huge gap. I feel like you've got the Carolina Panthers and the Jacksonville Jaguars and possibly the Miami Dolphins. And then and the Cleveland Browns, and I would even say the Cincinnati Bengals are kind of in that realm too. I don't think they're like that. Sure they beat the Browns, but who's not beating the Browns at this point? I would even say Dallas, and I apologize, Dallas fans, but Dallas is really in that lower tier right now. Mid tier, you've got your Chargers, you've got your Falcons at the moment, you've got
Niners.
Yeah, I would say Niners. You have Cardinals. I would even put Seahawks. I would put Seahawks there because I don't think they're upper tier. And then upper tier, there's this huge gap where you've got Minnesota, Baltimore, Chiefs, Detroit.
Would you put the Packers?
Packers. I put the Packers there right now for sure.
They just beat Houston.
Yeah, they're a good team.
That was an impressive win, and they made CJ Stroud look like crap.
Yeah,
I mean, he had 8 fantasy points. So bad.
A lot of season still to go. We're going to come back with another episode in a few days here where we'll preview Week 8. We'll preview. We'll talk about the Thursday night game, and we will preview Week 8. Tossie will give you some fantasy key pickups for your teams on Sunday, and we will highlight our favorite games to look forward to coming Sunday. But in the meantime, as always, if you liked our rant, especially about the Niners this week, a very Niners-centric episode.
It was.
As we both went to the game.
We did.
Like and subscribe to the PTW podcast, the Play to Win podcast. Thank you so much for watching us here on YouTube. We always appreciate the views, the comments, the subscriptions, all that kind of stuff. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify or wherever you're listening to us on podcasts, we appreciate you as well. Listening, following, leaving a review, all that kind of lovely stuff. Until next time, my name is Amir. This is Tossing the Football Greek. And we'll see you We'll see you in a few days.
We're gonna beat them Cowboys. Let's go. Turn it around.
Guaranteed.
4-4, baby.
That is guaranteed.
Beat those Cowboys.
Dolphins beating the Cardinals, we'll see. But
they're gonna beat them.
Niners.
We'll feel better next week.
All right. Take care, everyone.